Rhymefest and his wife, Donnie Smith, join us now to share the latest news on the organization. Good morning and welcome back.
Good morning.
Thank
you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So, Shay, can you talk about your and Kanye's relationship going back and also how it's changed over time?
Well, Kanye and I have had a 30-year relationship, friendship-wise and professionally. And so that friendship, professional relationship led to conversations about what do we need to do for our community, where we come from, the place that we rap about all the time, and we use Chicago and the experiences here to teach and show the rest of the world what are we doing for Chicago. And that led to the creation of what was Donda's House, but is now Art of Culture.
Wow. So Donnie, we just had the name change. That's the newest information. We're going to talk a little bit more about Art of Culture in just a little bit. But Donnie, you're a co-founder of Donda's House. And when you saw Kim Kardashian's tweets, responding back to your husband as a wife, we got to talk about that. And then as a board member too, it must have been kind of difficult for you not to respond how you would probably initially respond. It's hard to keep your thoughts off the internet.
Absolutely. I mean, I was a high school teacher for 12 years prior to Donda's House. So all I could think about was the students who were watching and wanting to be a good example for them.
Yeah, I'm sure it's frustrating though as a wife too. I'm a wife. I would definitely want to stick up and defend my husband as well. You don't want to hear anybody talk about your family bad.
Absolutely. I mean, on text message, my family and friends were definitely, defending us.
Yeah. We can understand that.
Well, beside all the feuding that was going on, I think it's important for people to understand that Dr. West was a great person in the community, and Donda did a lot of things. Can you talk a little bit, Rhymefest, about what she did for you and so many other kids in the Chicago area?
Yeah, man, thank you for asking that question. Dr. Donda West was not only a Fulbright scholar, an expert in Russian poetry, a world traveler. She also was the Dean of Education at Chicago State University. She didn't have to be at a local, state university, but she was, and she didn't only teach young people, she mentored us and she parented us. So Dr. Donda West, for me, was not only a mentor, she was a mother figure, an example, and not just as a woman, as a human being. She was a wonderful human being, so we felt the need to take her legacy forward. We read her thesis, we read her dissertations, and we apply her method of teaching to how we instruct.
Shay, you mentioned your relationship with Kanye being both professional and personal, and as I was reading these tweets, I couldn't help but think, obviously, with the organization, it's frustrating, but also as a friend, as just somebody who's known someone for 30 years, it kind of has to be tough to watch it all play out on a public stage. Do you feel like there's any reconciliation for you guys in the future?
Well, nothing is irredeemable. Like, everything is able to be worked out. However, more than friendship, for me, is purpose, is mission. What is our purpose? What are we put on this earth to do? I am put on this earth to give back and to grow things from where I was grown. And so for me, more important than my friendship with any one person is what we do for the community of Chicago to help the collective and the community and the village, because that's the only way. I mean, listen, my wife is the executive director of Art of Culture, but as African Americans who head nonprofit organizations, it is very difficult for us to get funding, especially on the South Sides, West Sides, and it is obligatory upon us who make it from communities to give back to those communities. There's a saying, life is like baseball, you leave home to return home. That's the only way you score. And so I am home, we are giving, and I think the work speaks for itself.
Would you say that your largest source of disappointment comes from his lack of funding then, or is it lack of time and energy? What's
I think for the organization, it was that certain comments that he was making. It's not even not giving to the organization. Certain comments were hurting the work we were doing. So when you talk about, the historical comments, choices or not choices, or some of the political comments, we were getting calls of concern from our donors. And so the conversations that Kanye had behind the scenes, he and I, behind the scenes was, if you're not going to help, don't hurt. You know what I mean?
You actually lost funding, is that right?
Well, we had cause of concern, and we were like, you know, it was getting, it kind of boiled over from private conversations into the public sphere. So what people saw in public was a result of months of conversations about the work we're doing and how certain comments were hurting that work.
So can we take it you did not call and wish him a happy birthday this weekend? A little text maybe?
Well, you know what? I got to be honest, just no matter what, I'm not a big birthday guy.
He's not.
Okay, so
I
anybody's birthday.
don't even wake up on my own birthday. I was just like, let's just keep moving forward.
Okay, so Danielle, don't expect the call or a text.
That's fine. I'm not a big birthday person
right.
either. I get it.